Hey guys, today I'm sharing with you the absolute best oven style barbecue chicken that you can make. This is packed with amazing flavor and it is smoked to deliciousness. I truly give all glory to God for this recipe, guys. It is a blessing beyond. It is not only flavored well, but it is smoked to perfection with beautiful aromas and everything. It is just amazing. To get started, I have some herbs here on a plate and some garlic. I have about 5 to 6 cloves of garlic here, 2 or 3 sprigs of green onion. I have some culantro leaves here, about 4 to 5 leaves, and I have a bunch of cilantro. Now you don't have to use culantro. You can use all cilantro, or if you don't have cilantro, you can use all culantro. Culantro is just a much more stronger flavor of cilantro. It's pretty much very similar in taste, so use whichever one you have. I am using both to show you that you can use whichever one you have. Both very similar in flavor, except culantro is a little bit stronger. So my 2 to 3 green onions that I've just broken up into pieces, my garlic, and everything is going into a small blender. I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of water and get this blended to a nice, fine, blended up paste. So in a baking dish here, I'm going to go ahead and add in some spices. I'm adding in some chili powder, some paprika, a little bit of cumin, salt, and black pepper. I will have all the amounts listed below in the description box for you. I do love to use the combination of the spice rub and the herbs. You can do just the herbs or just the spice rub if you like, but I love the combination of both. I'm adding in some brown sugar, and I'm giving that a very good mix to make sure that that brown sugar and everything is incorporated beautifully. Now I'm going to add in my chicken as well as my herb mixture. I'm using roughly about 2 pounds of chicken, a little less than 2 pounds. And I'm going to make sure that that spice and herb mixture is really mixed in well and rubbed all over the chicken. You want to make sure that the spice and herbs are mixed really well, and you can do that before adding in your chicken, and just make sure that that chicken is really well coated. Now what I like to do is I like to go ahead and get some of this mixture inside of the chicken. So I'm going to take the tip of my knife and just cut a little tiny pocket, just a little hole, not all the way through, and take some of that spice and herb mixture and tuck it into the chicken. I'm not going all the way through, and I don't want to go under the skin, because if I do go under the skin, it will pull back as it's baking. So I'm just going to create little pockets and add some of that spice and herb mixture inside of the chicken. Because you don't just want flavor on the skin, you want flavor inside of the chicken as well, okay? Now you want this to marinate. It can marinate anywhere from 30 minutes to maybe an hour, 2 hours. If you want to pop this in the refrigerator overnight to let it marinate overnight, that'll be even better. But you want to make sure that this is tightly sealed with foil. The tight seal is going to make sure that as this is baking, it stays nice and tender. So make sure that it is tightly sealed all the way around. Let it marinate for about 30 minutes. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees. And we're going to let this bake for about 45 minutes or so. Depending on the size of your chicken and how much chicken you're cooking, it's going to depend on your baking time. So for this, I let it go for about 45 to 50 minutes or so. Now we're going to make our barbecue sauce. Now, you can just use regular store-bought barbecue sauce, of course, which is technically what I'm kind of doing. My favorite one is the Sonny's Smoking Barbecue Sauce. I'm not using that today because my little ones find it a little bit spicy. So I am using the Sweet Sonny's Barbecue Sauce. They love this. I love it. It has amazing flavor. It's one of my favorite barbecue sauces to use. I'm going to go ahead and add in a cup of this to a saucepan. Now, the remaining leftover remnants that was in that blender cup, I just added in some water, and I'm going to add in about a quarter cup of that liquid to that. Now I have some finely chopped up cilantro and culantro again that I'm adding in. That's just about 2 to 3 leaves of the culantro and a little handful of cilantro. I love the flavor, and barbecue sauce to me with that is just perfection. I'm adding in a couple tablespoons of ketchup. Again, you don't have to do this, you can just use store-bought as it is, but I'm looking for flavor, so yes. Now carefully remove your chicken from the oven and carefully remove the foil. That foil was tightly sealed, so it has a lot of steam in there, and if you're not careful, that steam can burn you, so just be very careful when removing the foil from your chicken. Now I have a grill pan here. You do not need one of this, you just need a regular baking tray or whatever is going to work fine. All of the juice is already rendered out from that chicken, so we just need a regular tray that I am spraying with nonstick cooking spray. It is important to spray with nonstick cooking spray. You can also use some foil and spray the foil with nonstick cooking spray so that this does not stick, because now we're going to put this under our broiler, and as it is broiling it tends to stick. So for easy cleanup, you can just use some foil and nonstick cooking spray on a baking tray. So to our barbecue sauce, I'm not gonna waste nothing, waste not, want not. So the flavor that rendered out from that chicken with the extra spices and everything, we're gonna go ahead and add to our barbecue sauce. Now this is of course going to be very hot, so just be careful, and then we're just gonna mix that all in. Now my broiler is on and I have my chicken here. I'm going to put some of that barbecue sauce on top of my chicken. Then we're going to pop it on the broiler for about a minute or so. And after a minute, I'm going to remove it, put another coat of barbecue sauce, put it on for another minute. And then we're going to flip it, barbecue sauce, broil, barbecue sauce, broil. You do want to be careful with your broiler. Of course, always keep an eye on it, because sometimes you never know. Okay, you never know how these things go. Sometimes the broiler can really do a very quick job, and sometimes it takes a little while. So just keep an eye on it. Again, I put it in the broiler for a minute or so, took it out, put some more barbecue sauce, put it in for another minute or so, depending on your broiler. Then I'm going to go and flip it and do the exact same thing to the next side. Now this is why using the nonstick cooking spray, whether it's on foil or just a grill pan like this, is because it just doesn't let the chicken stick. Because without that, the skin will tend to stick to it, especially with the sugar that's in the sauces. Making sure every nook and cranny is covered in sauce. Now after this has broiled on both sides for 2 times, I have a pot here. You can use any pot that you want, and I'm placing my chicken around the edges, the sides of the pot. So I leave a nice little circle in the center of my pot. I'm also going to be doing some hot dogs today. I'm going to place these right under the broiler as well to get some nice color, just for about a minute or so. Because my little one loves the grilled hot dogs. I love it as well. So why not? So now that we have our chicken here, I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit more sauce on top. As the broiler works with the chicken, it tends to dry it out a little bit, so I like a little extra sauce on top. My hot dogs are out of the oven. Make sure and take your broiler off now. And we're just gonna finish this up. I like to put a little bit of sauce on my hot dogs as well because it is delicious, but that's gonna be up to you. If you even want to do hot dogs, it's completely up to you. I'm gonna place these in the same pot around the edges with my chicken and leaving a little center circle in the center of our pot. Next, you're gonna need some aluminum foil. And we're gonna tear off about a foot of aluminum foil. We're going to take this and put it in the palm of our hand and create a nice little bowl. Just by crinkling up the edges to make a nice little bowl. And we're going to place that bowl right in that little pocket that we made in the pot there. Just like so. Now what I have here is some charcoal. Now you can use whatever kind of flavoring or whatever that you like to use. It's just plain old regular charcoal. I'm going to be using 2 pieces for this recipe. You can use 1 if you want. I really like a lot of flavor, so I'm going to go in with 2, and we're going to use 1 at a time. I have one of these metal little holders here, and I'm going to place my charcoal in between that. And I'm going to put my heat on high. And now we're going to leave this charcoal over the flame for about 2 to 3 minutes until it lights. You really want to leave it for about 2 to 3 minutes on that high heat. It's going to start to let out those little tiny flicks at first, but don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. This is safe to do, but of course, just be careful with anything that you're doing in the kitchen. But you want to leave it over your flame. It's going to start to light up just like that. But we want to make sure that this coal actually lights up. Not with just a flame on our burner, but the actual coal itself. So leaving it there for that 2 to 3 minutes is going to ensure that you will start seeing the red forming on the coal. And we want that to be really, really nice and red. You can see that it is really coming nice and red there. I'm still going to leave it for another minute or so. Now if you don't have a gas burner like this, you can use one of those like birthday candle things that you use to light a birthday candle. That's going to take a lot longer, but you may still be able to achieve this if you don't have a gas burner. That is looking beautiful. I'm still going to let this go though. It will become white and red at the same time, but I'm still going to let it go for about another minute. So after that 3 minutes or so, now I'm using a pot here with a clear lid just to show you the effect that this has. But if you do have a little circle like that on your lid, you want to make sure that that stays covered so we don't lose the flavor from the charcoal. I'm going to remove my lid and place my little charcoal in that aluminum foil bowl that we made. Cover it up. And that's going to start to release flavor and give that flavor to the chicken and the hot dogs. Now again, like I told you, I'm doing 2 pieces for this. One, because I did not do the entire charcoal. I just did like the bottom half. So I'm going to be using 2 pieces of charcoal. Now, you may want to open up your windows because your house is going to smell like barbecue. It's not going to be too bad, but I don't mind the flavor or the smell of barbecue. I'm so grateful for this recipe, y'all. This came about when we didn't have enough coal. When I first made this recipe, we didn't have enough coal to make the barbecue outside, and this is how this recipe was born, and I'm so grateful to God for it, and really all glory to him, because it's like a shortcut way of making barbecue, and it is delicious. So this has been going for several minutes now, maybe 3 to even 4 minutes. I really want to ensure that that is really lit. That way I'm really going to get that flavor into the chicken. Place it in my little foil, turn my heat off, and I have about a tablespoon of vegetable oil here. I'm going to take that oil and pour it over that charcoal and immediately cover your lid. And this is going to start to just release its flavor and that smokiness that we want. That flavor in the chicken and in the hot dogs. And it's also going to make your pot hot, so just be careful if you want to touch your pot, because that steam that's coming out of the coal will create heat. And look at that goodness. I'm just showing you here for this recipe the smokiness that's going on in there. Don't lift your lid because you're just going to release all the flavor. But yes, I have my little hole covered with a piece of foil, and I wanted to show you here because after some time that coal will eventually die out, because you want to leave it in there for about 30 minutes to get that smoky flavor. I'm going to leave this on my flame for just about a minute this time, because it was already lit, and because it has vegetable oil, it will hold the flame a lot faster. So you do want to be a little bit careful with that. The flame will eventually release itself and go from the coal, but because it was already lit, it holds the flame a lot longer than it did before. As you see there. So if you want to pre-light it one more time or even 2 more times, if the smoke does just die down in your pot, I'd like to do this about 1 or 2 extra times to make sure that I get maximum flavor in my chicken. Okay? And that's it, guys. I mean, it is fantastic. So beyond grateful. The extra barbecue sauce, I like to just take it and reduce it, put it on the stovetop, cook it down for about 5 minutes to reduce, and serve it on the side if anyone wants extra barbecue sauce for their chicken or rice or whatever. And that is it. It takes the outdoor grill, that charcoal, beautiful flavor, and you can make it at home in your oven without lighting up the grill and doing all of that. I hope that you guys enjoy this recipe, and I hope that you give it a try. And if you do try it and you enjoy it, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.